What's going on, y'all? The Island Rex back here with another video, and I just wanted to give my my bad. I just wanted to give my thoughts real quick, and got this question though. Like I want to ask y'all: do y'all think Floyd Money May, my guy Floyd Money May? Those who don't know, that's one of my favorite boxers of all times. He's in my top 5, top 10, top 2. So if I got him in my top 2, you already know what number he is. I'm not gonna say, you know. Yeah, man. So he went out on top, beat Andre Berto, beat Manny Pacquiao, and I really feel like he has nothing left to prove anymore. You know, I really don't. Maybe he has something to prove in his own mind, but to me, he already solidified his greatness. You know, he done beat the best fighters out there. If you aren't a boxing fan and you're just like, you know, you're just a casual fan, then of course you'll say that he didn't fight anyone. You know, you'll say that he didn't really fight. You know, nobody that's nobody of significance, like, you know, nobody that's important. But a lot of guys that he fought are future Hall of Famers and are going to go down as some of the best fighters. You know, let's say Canelo beat Triple G. You know, what does that say about Money Mayweather? You know, they always always make an excuse for, you know, when he beat these fighters. You know, when he beat Canelo Alvarez, they say Canelo was too young. You know, Canelo was the best before he fought him, but then he was too young after he beat him. So, you know, and then they made excuses for Cotto, Shane Mosley. You know, they always make excuses after he fight. So it's like at this particular time, it's like, what, you know, I understand that he's trying to get 50 and 0, possibly. I think that, you know, one thing I will say, he is 10 steps ahead of a lot of these fighters. Like, I watch a lot of these fighters. Like, I was having a discussion with one of my friends, and I told him, you know, the outcome of the Sean Porter and Thurman fight. I told him the outcome before it happened, and when it happened, he was like, dang, man, like, I don't think a lot of people know this, but I used to box probably like 2 years ago. I used to box. I didn't do nothing major, you know. I just got into it. I was doing it for about a year or two, and I eventually got out. You know, my main focus is music. You know, I don't really get into boxing. You know, I'm not gonna step into no one else's world. You know, I was okay. You know, I'm not gonna toot my own horn. You know, I know how to defend myself. I say that much. You know, I don't want to, you know, act like I'm a world-class boxer or anything. I leave that to, you know, the guys who are great at what they do. So, you know, I'll tell some, if y'all interested, I'll tell y'all some, you know, boxing stories and some things that I seen at the gym when I was boxing. But yeah, as far as like Floyd, you know, I think that he is 10 steps ahead of a lot of these fighters. Like, his footwork is amazing. You know, he could box on the inside, move on the outside. You know, he got his pivot. You know, he pivots so well. His counter punching. You know, his catching. You know, him catching punches. You know, his defense remarkable. Like, he's just on another level compared to a lot of these fighters, because Floyd, actually, you could tell that he studied all the fighters that came before him, and he took from them and mastered their style and became one of the most complete fighters of all times, you know. And I think, you know, you got guys like, you know, AB, who's one of my other favorite fighters. The reason I like AB is because he's outspoken, and he's more so, I wouldn't say he's outspoken, because when you're outspoken, I would say he's talking more so about, you know, the hardships in America. That's more outspoken to me. Floyd was outspoken at times. I think that, you know, AB didn't study. You could tell he only studied one fighter, and that was Mayweather, and he's only known that, you know, style. So he tried to emulate that instead of taking from all the fighters and learning from them, then becoming his own fighter, his own complete fighter. But people can say what they want. Mike Tyson was, he lost a lot of his big fights, so they could say whatever they want about, Adrian Broner. Whether you lost or not doesn't define you. But at the same time, it's just Floyd was just on another level, and he never lost. But I think that him staying retired would be a great idea, But I support everything he do, whether he come back or not. But I think him being retired, him being in this discussion, with just a 49-0. But I mean, it would be like him looking back years from now and being like, what would have happened if I would have just, conquered if I would have beat the 49-0 record, what would have happened, or this or that. And I think that's a good accomplishment. Me personally, I think that retiring and keeping people thinking like, who is the best? Because it keep them right there in that discussion of Rocky Marciano. As long as he's 49-0, Rocky Marciano 49-0, people will be like, dang, And what's crazy is, and it brings me back to the whole, I like to draw the comparison to Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders didn't, to me, my favorite running back of all time was Emmitt Smith. I always been a Cowboys fan. Emmitt Smith was always my favorite running back. I think about like Barry Sanders, how he didn't pass Walter Payton's record. And what's crazy is Emmitt Smith passed Walter Payton's record and has 3 rings. But I noticed that a lot of people don't give Emmitt Smith his props. And Emmitt Smith goes down as the greatest. I mean, Emmitt Smith doesn't go down as the greatest. He got the all-time rushing record, got the most yards, and he has 3 Super Bowl rings. But somehow people still think Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all times. And people give Barry Sanders way more credit than they do Emmitt Smith, or even Walter Payton for that matter. So it's just crazy, how he can get all those records and have all those accolades, but people still don't give him those props. And when they talk about the greatest running back, you never really hear them bring up. I'm just talking about like normal conversations, not on ESPN or NFL Network, all those networks and stuff. I'm talking about like normal discussions that you hear. You never really hear people say, "Oh, Emmitt Smith is the greatest running back of all time." So that's what will bring me back to Floyd. Like, if he is able to just stay right there with Rocky Marciano, they'll say, "Wow, who's the greatest?" And there'll be a debate between Rocky Marciano and Floyd Mayweather. And Rocky Marciano is, I think he's white, if I'm not mistaken, Italian or something, and Floyd is an African American. So those two, it will be a great debate between those two fighters. And him just being right there. So that's just my opinion. Maybe he will. Even if he did come back, I would definitely support it. Floyd Mayweather is one of my favorite fighters. Like, anybody ever tell you, like, I always watch his videos because it's always informative. He's always giving gems. And he, like, people will say, "Oh, he's not giving back this." You support him, and he don't give this, and he don't give money and all this. It's not about money. It's about knowledge. I think that's more important than money. Knowledge is more important than money. And also resources. Resources is very important in your life, because you can have all the money in the world and you'll spend it, but if you got money and you got resources, if you got the resources, then you get the money, then you're able to put the money in the right places. So that's just another food for thought for y'all. Let me know, leave comments below and tell me what you think about Floyd coming back, and if you think he should come back. Me personally, I would want him to stay retired, but if he come back, I'll support it. A lot of these guys aren't as entertaining as Floyd, and Adrian Broner is entertaining, but he's not as entertaining as Floyd. And I like how Floyd, because I personally don't like them going at each other. Like, I like for black people to be, get money together. And he took Adrian Broner up under his wing, and I like that. He's like, I don't want to fight you, bro. Like, I don't want to fight you. And I like that about Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really give back, and he really, and that's another thing. Hold up, before I end this video, you can never say that Floyd don't do nothing for the community, because I just read a newspaper the other day. I live in D.C., right? And he's doing a whole lot for the fighters where we come from. For boxers that's coming up in my area. He's signing fighters from my area. He's doing the Stadium Armory. Got fights at the Stadium Armory. He can just say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go back to Grand Rapids, or I'm gonna stay in Las Vegas. You see what I'm saying? But he's building. I don't know what he's doing at Grand Rapids, because I don't live there and I don't read, that much into it. But he is doing a lot for DC and just boxers that's coming up, and he's helping people get their money and not trying to take their money like former promoters did back in the day. He's showing them the ropes. So you gotta give him credit. He's taking, he's getting that money and he's giving it back to his people. He's putting it back into the African American communities, and there's people from this city that don't even do that. So, I like to thank Floyd for that, and we have to be appreciative about a lot of things in our life that you might think that is small things, but it's really big. So, like I said, man, if he come back, I'll be excited, but I will personally think he should stay retired. Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Love y'all.